Dunkirk is a 10th film by director Christopher Nolan and stars Tom Hardy, Cillian Murphy, Kenneth Branagh, Mark Rylance and Harry Styles, plus a lot of unknown actors. And it tells the story of the events that happened between May and June 1940 when British and Allied forces were held up at the French port town of Dunkirk after taking massive losses and being outnumbered and outflanked by the Nazi army. And this is a really good war film. It's a different war film. It's not a conventional war film. It's not really about the war in a way. It's more about the survival of war. It's about surviving the event. And it really works. It is really, really good. The acting is good. In fact, the acting is brilliant. There's not a lot of dialogue. In fact, the dialogue is pretty minimal, to be honest. But it really works because, you know, it's showing how the event affected the soldiers. You know, they're not going to sit around chatting, basically. A lot of them were shell-shocked. A lot of them were just trying to survive, trying to be quiet, trying to escape. A lot's been said by some people. You know, I have read a couple of reviews and seen a couple of reviews before I saw this movie. And some people have issues with the character development of the movie, but I thought the character development was pretty perfect, to be honest. You didn't need scenes like you get in some war films where they're, you know, halfway through they're sitting around a campfire discussing about their life back home, you know, about how he wants to get home to his girlfriend or he wants to get home to his mother or see his kids and things like that. You don't know anything about any of the soldiers or any of the fighter pilots or sailors or anything in this film. And you don't need to know. There's certain scenes where the actions of the soldiers speak louder than any like description of their life, their backstory could ever tell you, you know. Through certain actions, you know if that soldier is good, or you know that soldier, you know, is, you know, not a bit of a dodgy character. And it's good to see the different ways that the human spirit prevails, and also that the different ways that humans survive. There's a certain Theon Whitehead is. He's not really the main character because there's not really any one main character in this film, but he's the first person you see, Theon Whitehead. He's the one that leads you to the beach. So you see it through his eyes at first. So in a way he is sort of the main character, but all the way through the film he's like coming up with like different ways to get on these boats and escape this beach. He's really good. Again, his dialogue's minimal, but you know, his body language, his facial expressions, that paints the picture of how desperate he is as a soldier to get off that beach. Harry Styles it was fine. I had no problems with his acting. You know, people found that as stunt casting, but apparently he aced his audition. He had a normal audition like all the other unknown actors, and you know, Christopher Nolan liked him, and you know, I always trusted Christopher Nolan's judgment that Harry Styles was going to be decent, and he was pretty good. I enjoyed the character that he played, called Alex. You know, he was good. Mark Rylance, he's very good as Mr. Dawson. He's one of the civilians who come over from England after the call has been sent out for the civilian boats to come and rescue the soldiers from the beaches, because the Royal Navy cruisers and destroyers, they can't get to the beach because the water's too shallow, so they need the civilian pleasure boats and yachts to come over from England, come over across the channel to avoid, you know, the Luftwaffe planes and the U-boats and mines and things like that, which was pretty brave. You know, this is a true story. This is a story that, as a British person, we know this story. You know, maybe some Americans and that may not really know the ins and outs. They may have heard of Dunkirk, they may not have. But this is a story that, you know, as a Brit, we grew up with. And watching the film, it makes me really proud. Kenneth Branagh, he's good as Commander Bolton. In fact, all the acting is really good. I think my favourite scenes were the Spitfire scenes. They were brilliant. They were really, really well done. They were fantastic. In fact, Tom Hardy was one of the Spitfire pilots, one of the RAF pilots, and you know he was brilliant as always. He wears a mask all the way through the film, pretty much. About 98% of the film he's got a mask on, but you know you can hear what he's saying. He's not as mumbled as he was as Bane, and yeah, he's brilliant. You know, all the dog fights are fantastic between the Spitfires and the Messerschmitts, the RAF and the Luftwaffe. Fantastic. You know, there's no CGI involved with these Spitfires. These were real planes dogfighting each other in the sky, and it sucks you in. When you see the shots from the cockpit, you feel like you're in the cockpit, especially the way I saw the movie. I saw it on an IMAX screen, and to me that is the only way to see this movie. I didn't actually notice any like zoom outs to fill out the screen. It felt like the entire movie was blown out into this 70mm, screen, IMAX screen. It was just fantastic. I don't know if it was filmed all the way through or not. I don't think it was, but it felt like it. Anyway, I didn't notice any stretching, like you do with the other Nolan films, what have IMAX scenes when you've got bars at the top and then it just blows out and fills the entire screen. It just felt like that's how it was all the way through. There's like 3 viewpoints from the movie. There's the land or the beach, there's the sea, and then there's the air. And you spend an hour with the RAF pilots in the air. You spend a day with Mr. Dawson and his civilian boat going over to rescue the soldiers and sailors, and you spend a week with the soldiers on the beach. And Christopher Nolan, even though it's a straightforward story and it's his most realistic film, it still plays around with time in a way, and it's really good. At first you might be like, what's going on here? I've just seen him somewhere else, but it doesn't take long to work out what's going on, because it kind of, I'm not gonna spoil the film. It's silly saying spoilers when it comes to a real life historical event, because you should know what happens, but something happens, everything comes together in a way. I'm not gonna spoil that, but it really pays off, and it's really, really good. Tom Hardy's wingman, I think he's called Jack Lowden, the actor. He was really good. I really enjoyed his performance as the other RAF pilot. And the score is fantastic. It pretty much plays all the way through. If the actual main score isn't in the film, you've still got this ticking watch which plays all the way through. And Hans Zimmer again. I just love Hans Zimmer scores, and this is another one what's fantastic. I've been listening to one track on the Dunkirk album called Supermarine all the time, and I just love it. It's just fantastic, especially the ticking watch all the way through the movie. It's just a stroke of brilliance, and yeah, it just felt like the music was just playing all the way through the film, and there wasn't any silent moments. But yeah, it's a really, really, really good war film. It's one of Christopher Nolan's best films, in my opinion. The acting was fantastic. Even though there's minimum dialogue, to be honest, in parts of the film, it's kind of like a silent film in a way. Even though obviously you can hear the sounds of the music and the fighter jets and the bullets and the bombs going off. It's just the way that sometimes there's no dialogue at all. But yeah, it works, and it's a fantastic film. One of the best of the year, I think. One of Nolan's best. It's a different kind of war film. I was a bit afraid going into the film that finding out that it was going to be a 12A, PG-13, that it wasn't going to work. After you've seen war films like Saving Private Ryan, The Thin Red Line, Hacksaw Ridge, which are really, really gory and bloody and that. Limbs flying about and everything. I was worried that it wasn't going to work, but it really did. The tension all the way through it. It told you it showed you the brutality of the war without having to need to be gory, which I found really, really good. So yeah, I'm gonna have to give this film a rating of A+. Yeah, guys, this is one of my favourite films of the year. One of my favourite Nolan films ever. It's a great war film. It's not all-out action like your Saving Private Ryan's, your Hacksaw Ridges and that. It's more of a psychological film showing the survival of the soldiers rather than any one battle. Because Dunkirk wasn't really a battle. The battle was on the outskirts of Dunkirk between the French, who was holding the Germans off while the British could escape. This story is about the event of surviving Dunkirk and trying to get these soldiers, these 400,000 soldiers, off this beach and back onto England. So, yeah, let me know what you think down below, guys, of the movie if you've seen it. Tell me what's your favourite Christopher Nolan film. Where does this rank in the top 10 Nolan films? Now, he's seen as he's done 10 now. You can do a top 10. Where does this rank? Like and share my channel, guys. And remember, stay heroic.